There's nothing quite like an aircraft order. In today's aviation news recap, I take a look at a new prospective one. Delta is expanding its international network, and there's developments around Emirates and an aircraft upgrade. Let's begin with coverage on Etihad Airways, who are currently eyeing a relatively small but noteworthy aircraft purchase from either Airbus or Boeing as part of upcoming growth plans that have been unveiled within the company. As the carrier expands through Journey 2030, which I'll dive into briefly shortly, the requirement for new aircraft is high. The carrier is looking to leverage its ongoing and pretty extensive relationship with manufacturers and also leasing company to look towards securing new aircraft for the future. Reuters reports that the new jets could include many types, this being from wide bodies to narrow bodies, and isn't, say, centered around a search for one sole aircraft type. The new jets will generally see various purposes but align with the company's overall fleet goals. Securing aircraft sooner rather than later has become a very common theme, as airlines look to scramble and lock down delivery slots now. Waiting to place these orders presents risks, as aircraft lines begin being sold out through to the 2030s. Therefore, customers may need to look towards the leasing market for a more short-term solution if they have not placed an order directly with the said manufacturer. However, as always, if more head towards the leasing market, this is an area that becomes oversaturated, and then your key leasing companies are unable to provide the aircraft for companies when they need them. And that's beginning to happen. Interestingly, Etihad's CEO clarified that the order wouldn't be big, as they specifically focus on the availability of aircraft that are not being taken up by their original customer or had seen deliveries rescheduled that meant there were new opportunities to bring aircraft in sooner rather than later. So really, it's got to be the most optimal timing and optimal aircraft for a deal to take place. Therefore, it's a little bit more complex than just going out and saying, we need a new widebody. A strategy shift sees Etihad move away from its ambitious early 2010s expansion means, which led to it losing billions. This rapid expansion saw Etihad focus on growing the fleet and investing in airlines far too quickly. Ultimately, the airline then had too many aircraft, made poor investments, and became unprofitable. Under new leadership, the hope is that Journey 2030 will be conducted in a much more thought out manner and ultimately be more successful. Etihad's Journey 2030 that I speak of was unveiled last year in a bid to expand the business considerably. Journey 2030 will see the airline look to cement its role in the Middle East as a leader in air travel. Additionally, it'll attempt to expand to over 125 destinations with a focus on growing that global footprint. Etihad believes that utilizing Abu Dhabi's geographical positioning will offer them potential, and a larger fleet is required to make these ambitions a reality. The carrier says it'll expand its fleet to over 160 aircraft by 2030, which would again represent the second most significant fleet expansion in company history, with the first not necessarily going according to plan. On to our next story in today's recap. Delta is enhancing its transatlantic portfolio by confirming service resumption from Tampa International Airport to Amsterdam Schiphol. Service is slated to resume on October 26, 2024, with daily flights occurring just throughout that winter season. Delta says the A330-300 will operate between the two locations. These Airbus A330s feature 4 separate cabin products. This is from your Delta 1 through to the main cabin. In between, Delta offers customers Premium Select and Comfort Plus. So as a result, people seeking a wide range of experiences, Delta says should be pleased to see what is on offer between these two locations. The carrier highlights connectivity with KLM and Air France. Basically, for those traveling to Amsterdam, they'll have access to KLM's network, which will feature some fantastic onward connectivity to, wait for it, over 100 cities across the Middle East, India, Africa, and Europe. Ultimately, the new route will, yes, also boost transatlantic offerings provided by the major US company and strengthen the network directly between Florida and Europe. Delta is not unfamiliar to Amsterdam. It already serves the location via Orlando if we're just sticking to Florida, but when taking a look at your other major US cities. Delta offers services from the likes of Atlanta, Boston, Detroit, Minneapolis, St. Paul, New York, Portland, Salt Lake City, and lastly, Seattle. Its senior vice president of Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India said that by seamlessly linking Amsterdam's vibrant international hub, Delta's most served airport in Europe, with Tampa Bay's renowned beaches, Delta is offering customers a gateway to explore the best of Europe and America. You can let me know your thoughts on this service announcement down below in the comments, but it is time to move on to the final story of today. Emirates has announced plans to upgrade its aircraft fleet with the further retrofitting of Airbus A380s and Boeing 777s. As part of the newly announced plan, the expansion of the cabin refurbishments will now include a total of 191 aircraft and allow the company's older jets to align with the next generation inbound aircraft types, such as the A350, which has certainly had a lot talked about it of late. Emirates says that as part of the latest announcement, 43 A380s and 28 777s will be included. Initially, the carrier had only included 120 planes, but obviously we're seeing an increase now to 191. Some pretty simple, quick math there. This basically allows the airline to, in its opinion, raise customer satisfaction levels and will look to give it a more competitive edge in the coming years as other airlines in the space and even further away continue to advance their cabin product. Emirates wants harmony across its older aircraft and the incoming new ones. As of May 2024, Emirates has already retrofitted 22 A380s, and from July of this year, the carrier will send its first 777 in for refurbishment. If you're after the exact specifics around how long this should take, Emirates is quoted at saying it'll be 2 weeks before the 777s are allowed to basically re-enter commercial service. The latest announcement includes an upgrade to first class. Meanwhile, all new business class seats will debut in a 1-to-1 configuration. This configuration has been adopted for some time by most airlines. It is considered to offer you a more private experience for customers flying in those upper classes. Not that I'd be able to relate to that part. On top of that, Emirates is focusing on the introduction of 24 premium economy seats. This cabin class is very much perceived as a bit of a bridge between your upper class experience and just your standard economy. It is therefore maybe a more modest upgrade that people believe would be worth the extra investment on. Interestingly, Emirates adds that all the work to refurbish the fleet is being completed in-house, with over 250 personnel currently working around the clock. The Dubai-based company is obviously trying to limit the operational impact of these jets being pulled from service for a couple of weeks as much as possible. Refurbished A380s, if you're curious, are already flying to various cities around the world. This includes the likes of Melbourne, Los Angeles, New York JFK, London, Mumbai, Singapore, and several other flagship locations, with eventually, once the 777 refurbishment is complete, more cities being added. That's going to conclude today's aviation news recap. If you've got any thoughts, you're more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. It really does mean a lot. Take care, do be safe. I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow for your latest industry news. And we'll fly.